So, good morning, everybody. So, good afternoon for people that are joining us ahead of us. So, we are here today talking to Mr. Hadyr KOUMAKPAI, the sales director of GS Solar, a tier one solar manufacturer. And we're going to have a pretty interesting topic, I would say. So, talking about the business for sure, but also the impact that the current coronavirus is having in the industry, in particular as well on GS Solar. So, Mr. Hadyr, so good morning. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today.
Good morning, Tony. Pleasure talking to you.
Excellent, excellent. So now, before we dive into the take of the subject, could you please introduce yourself, but also your wonderful company, GS Solar, please?
Well, my name is Hadyr Adebayo and KOUMAKPAI. I have been working in the solar industry for about close to 10 years now, and mainly looking at Africa as a market. And I'm working for GS Solar as the sales director of Africa. Talking about GS Solar, the company has been established since 2005. And we have been operating, let's say, more than 15 years now. And we have about 20 branches all over the world, and we have been supplying all the top products and advanced products in the market. We own a lot of technologies, such as PERC, bifacial. We own a lot of patents as well. And the company have done quite great. For 2 years now, we have been number 2 global market share, and we are also very present in Africa so far.
Okay, it looks like you have a tremendous track record, and we're very pleased to have you today. So how important would you say is the Africa market for GS Solar?
Well, I should say that GS Solar has been supplying technology in Africa for numbers of years now. If we look at our total shipment in Africa, I think we should be already above 800 megawatts. And for the company, Africa is very key market. Since that we notice that there's a lot of country with very serious challenges of power generations, and a lot of country consuming fossil fuel, and also, that obviously impact the environment. And recently we have noticed a lot of interest in solar. And also adding to that, this year in 2020, the company has put a separate department of Africa that I'm the one managing, and also giving a lot of support. And we are actually recruiting about 4 workers in Africa this year. And I think for the company, Africa is still a market that we want to focus in.
Excellent. Those are good news to hear. So 4 people. So for people listening to us wanting to apply, by all means, they should go and reach out to your HR team. Now, being one of the top solar PV manufacturer and a Chinese company with 12 manufacturing branches and 20 branches overall, I believe as well. So I was wondering how you're currently dealing with a topic, or let's say, and a global issue that the world is facing, a health issue, which is the pandemic, some would say. I'm talking about the current coronavirus crisis. So how is it affecting you?
Well, you should know that the Chinese authority obviously have taken, let's say, serious measures to prevent the spread of the virus. And also that has created a lot of shutdowns on factory, and also some industrial, all the industrial sectors are impacted. So far, there's something which is very serious as well, is the fact that out of the fact that some factories are not operating, you also have the man forces, because you should remember that coronavirus, the big news start during the Chinese New Year, when mainly all the key man forces are in the provinces. So, and after that, there was no train. So it was very difficult for people to come back in the city or come back to work. Up to date, a lot of people still work from home. And even though as JA we have manufacturers spread across China, obviously we have some which are still turning, and some which are maybe not turning 100%. But again, what is more important here is the fact that manufacture-wise is not the only problem. There is also a serious problem in the transportation and logistics.
Excellent. So it's important to understand the widespread impact that obviously the crisis is having for the industry and the society as large. How would you say your daily routine or daily routine activities of the company has been impacted? You're giving us a bit of information about that, but can you tell us a little bit more? Because I think we like to properly understand that.
Yeah, look, the fact that already workers are working from home have changed a lot of habits. Usually, I mean, you get the worker working close to each other. They can talk and solve problem immediately. Or you can just call or go to the factory or you can just go to the office of the logistic company and sort your issue. I mean, in less than one day. But today it's all changed because even if you go, for instance, to your logistic companies' offices, they are not there. So even if you need to send, for instance, some documentation through DHL or maybe through Shunfeng, which is the Chinese DHL kind of it, you cannot do that easily. So that is a serious issue so far. And obviously, on the routine wise, we need to consider all that. And that obviously also impacts the shipping time. It impacts a lot of things. And nowadays, I mean, some customer try also to understand because again, this situation come out of sudden. So we all try to adapt to it to avoid the spread of the virus.
Okay, and those impact that you've mentioned, so they concern JS Solar, but I suspect as well that they will also be tapping into the global industry. According to you, what is the global impact you're seeing for the solar market?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen something written by PV Info. If you look at PV Info link, according to them, the coronavirus actually has affected a lot of shipment, a delay a lot of projects in China. And, you know, the fact that, I mean, the project which has been planned for Q1 now has been postponed to Q2, Q3. And we really believe that Q2, Q3 it might happen. Otherwise, if the spread keep going the way it is, it might be delayed again. Something else you need to consider is the fact that some factory has stopped, and that definitely has provoked, let's say, less production in the market, and also obviously has also provoked some shortage of goods in the global industry. I believe that is not only related to the solar panels, but related to all the industry in the whole. And when you consider, for instance, the fact that a lot of cars industry are impacted, so the same is happening now in the solar industry as well. But it's still, we really believe that the first target for 2020, according to the expectation volume we are looking for, I believe that we still can keep it, and the provision still remains the same according to our target for this year. And I believe that will be the same for all the solar module manufacturers.
And that's quite impressive because this is a very serious crisis. But if you're keeping your target, it means that you know how to recover. That brings me to ask you the question: how can the industry react to mitigate the impact of this health scare?
Well, one thing which is important is what are the prevention, and given the fact that all the China major suppliers, solar modules or any other industry are impacted, we are trying our best to find a way to go around it. Obviously, the fact that we have also some measurement taken by the government, we are trying to adapt also to it. And that adaptation obviously will require people to be more careful and to try to find a way to work without spreading the virus. I believe if each company has the way of addressing that issue, and I believe that the industry is mature enough, and they might follow the regulation put in place by the China authorities, and so far it's supposed to be fine.
Okay, okay. One thing that we learned, which is quite impressive, is that China has built a hospital in 10 days. So, which would need obviously fast power to function. And I was actually wondering, how can the solar market exploit such opportunities?
Well, when we are facing epidemic or pandemic, some people might say, we think that the best for a company like J Solar, like our type of companies, what they should think of first of all is the let's say the social stability and how to feed back the society. I think it's better to think about how we can support them than how we can make it be a business opportunity. Obviously, if there is any demand in terms of power, we might also be happy to supply it. Maybe it's still in terms of social responsibility than businesses. And saying that, let me just also come up to the fact that on 25th January, just after a few days of the coronavirus issue, our company has decided to give close to 10 million yuan to the Wuhan authorities, which basically about 1.5 million US dollar in terms of support. So for us, obviously, a company need to make profits, but we believe also that we have a serious obligation toward the society.
That's very nice to hear, that sense of responsibility that your company, JS Solar, is having toward the society. What advice, and that's my last question, what advice would you give to other manufacturers and industry at large at this particular moment?
Look, I think the industry should be confident, both global demand as well as for Chinese demand. For international or Chinese-based companies, they should be very confident because, again, the coronavirus outbreak obviously is a challenging time, but we need more positive mind, and we believe that 2020 will be another great year of development. Despite the challenge, we just need to be more positive and try to also take all the measurements to avoid spreading more the virus, and also communicate to all the workers the right way to address it, and also share the update information to the customer so that at least everybody should be on the same page.
Well, on this very upbeating, uplifting words. So I just have to say, Mr. Hadyr KOUMAKPAI, Sales Director of JS Solar for Africa. It was a good pleasure for us to talk to you today at Renewables in Africa. We've learned a lot how you're dealing with the crisis. Definitely, we believe that we will be sharing this good message with our listeners, and they will also learn from you. So thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we will catch up with you at another time.
Thank you so much, Tony, and pleasure talking to you today. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.